Welcome to Weird Games and Weirder People, a podcast about role playing games and the weird, wonderful people behind them.
Hello, wonderful weirdos. This is Diogo Nogueira, and today's guest is a friend of mine, Raul Volpato. He's a pixel artist, he's a game designer, he makes art for role-playing games and video games. But before we get into that, I would like you to remind to subscribe to the show wherever you listen to your podcast, so you get updates when we release new episodes. And if you like the show, please leave us a review and check out our show notes for ways for you can support it and help us pace the build of the show. But let's get back to Raul Volpato. We talked about how he's working with pixel art and how he has this, kind of a small, very committed work to make pixel art more viable and more popular in RPG space. How pixel art kind of helps and kind of hinders his mental health in a ways, and how he can take advantage of that and sometimes not. We talked about how GURPS is a weird game, and it's how was his experience with it, how was mine experience with it. We talk about games and artists had inspired him. We talk about Final Fantasy Tactics, which is something very big for him. And we talked about Mike Mignola. We talk about various other artists and creators. We talk about City Noire, which is his personal project, his role-playing game he's developing, and various experience, with weird things that happen in his life. Santo Daime, which is kind of this psychedelic with religious undertones. He tried here in Brazil, and we had a lot of fun. We got personal, it gets really weird, and I hope you really enjoy it. So let's get weird with Raul Volpato. Hello, Raul! Welcome to the show. How are you doing, my friend?
Hi, Diogo. Thank you for inviting me. I'm doing good. We are surviving this incredibly hot summer.
Yeah. How hot is down there in the country of São Paulo? Here
Man,
in Rio, it's very very warm and very humid, and now it's raining cats and dogs, as they say. And but you said it's very dry over there. But how is the heat?
it's usually it's not that heat, but this last year and now is very very heat. We can live without some fans around the house. But, this week and last week started to getting better, but it's still very very hot. Because the rain, when it rain is very sporadic, it's very fast, so it's not enough to to help with the heat.
Yeah, I remember not I went to the country of São Paulo, near Piracicaba, because I had family there, and it's a lot drier
Yeah.
than in Rio. And then as further you go in the country, like I had friends in Brasilia that their nose just keeps bleeding and stuff like this. But
Yeah,
is that dry over there, or
no, not so
is
much.
usually
Not so
okay?
much. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
The problem here, at least in the past, we have a lot of the clay industry was really big in my city. So the and we have the how it's alcohol. I can't remember the English word for for cana de açúcar.
Yeah, sugar cane.
Yeah, we have
Yeah.
the industry here. So the weather when it's time to cut the cane, and because of the clay was very very dry, like in the 80s to mid 2000s. Now
Yeah.
the clay industry moved from here, so we have only the alcohol the alcohol factory, but it's still like when it's time to cut and process the alcohol, like the weather is very very dry, very because the smoke is very very dense.
Oh yeah. Wow. And then how do I pronounce your name? Raul Volpato, or
Yeah, yeah, hope.
yeah. And so, Raul Volpato, for the weirdos out there that might not know you, and because I like to hear from the people who come here to say who they are in their own words and what they do. And if you can, just share a small weird detail about yourself, something that you do, or the way you dress, or any like weird habit that someone someday pointed to you. Oh, that it's weird that you do that.
Uh, uh, I, I'm I'm sad to say that I'm not very weird. Like, at least like you interview so many interesting people. Like I remember the one with Navi Drake was especially like cool to listen. But my name is Raul Volpato. I'm a graphic designer from I graduated from graphic designer, but I don't work with that anymore. I work with illustration and mostly pixel art. I guess a weird part of it is that I try to insert pixel art in tabletop RPGs. That is not something very common, but I keep trying, and sometimes I succeed. uh, uh, I live in the country of Sao Paulo. Maybe one weird fact about me, one weird story about me that I like to tell is that in my town, it's a small town, I was responsible for because in the late 2000s, in the late 90s, early 2000s, it's very hard to get games in here in the interior, but
Hmm.
in Brazil in general, but especially in the interior of São Paulo. So I was kind of the person that got games for people to play. Like I remember I set up in a house a room for people to play Dungeon Dragons Third Edition. It was like very rare here. Like, I convinced a friend of mine to buy the games because he had money and I don't. It was the first
Yeah.
time I actually jammed a game. Uh, and it was during that time that Brazil was having like kind of like a satanic panic. I don't know if you remember because of the D&D and Magic was becoming very very popular.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember I was jamming, and the people was playing mostly Counter Strike and Warcraft during the house, and we have a room in the back where we keep playing D&D. And one mother was one that it was a kid that wasn't even playing; he was watching. His mother burst into the room, like look at us playing RPG, and she thought we'd be having like some satanic ritual, and she guys drag her son out of the room. We all like we're kids, like 10, 11 years. We start to look at each other. What the hell happened here?
Yeah. It was people were really afraid. I remember playing like we were teenagers. Weren't supposed to do that, but we would play like in a McDonald's or something, and some people would be like, "Oh, this is it's from Satan," or like jocks, like we here in Brazil would call them playboys. You know,
Playboys.
jocks would like threaten us like we're nerds or something, and we even
Oh,
got
I
in
had that
some
too.
fights
Yeah.
because of playing RPGs in public. So yeah, it's but uh, one weird thing about you, as you said, like you are one that always inserting pixel art in tabletop RPG, and that's something kind of weird, as you said, because it is like an analog media, and you're trying to, you know, uh, re- put a digital aesthetic into it, which I find really cool because it is kind of cycle, right? RPGs did influence uh, video games a lot, especially uh, RPG video games, which a lot from where you draw too, right? The pixel art, like this
Yeah.
adventure kind of role playing games, and I think it's kind of cool that it's something that the game is feed on RPGs, and now RPGs are like feeding on those games too, and we can learn a lot from it. And I love your art and how you do your work. You're always improving and studying. We even did like a small business card game called
Yeah.
card yeah
Kind
uh,
of.
and it was really cool, and I want to expand that like card wars and make it bigger and something, but we will see about that. And but how who are you, outside of the RPG space? Who would you say, you mentioned like you graduated as a graphic designer, but now you're most working as an illustrator, and you said that mostly you do is pixel art. That's this the work I know from you. But do you do other kinds of illustrations too?
I do digital illustrator, vector art, like vector animation, like with cutout. But
Mm.
it's really small these days. I started working with that when like I after I graduated, I tried to work as freelancers with that, but it didn't work out. Like it was hard to find jobs. I wasn't very good either. So because I graduated as graphic designer, but as much as I like graphic design, I didn't like to work in the most
Agents and
common
stuff. Yeah.
parts of graphic design. This is marketing, it's marketing with the marketing. I
Marketing. Yeah.
absolutely hated it. So I tried to work with illustration. I had a good friend. I still like my best friend in college is the one that helped me a lot. And he when we were still during college, he has already had a career with working as freelance illustrator and animator. So he helped me a lot to kickstart, but it was very very hard. So with pixel art, kind of saved me to keep working with that because when I started pixel art, I had very fast evolution with the style. Obvious because techniques translate between the part media. So
Yeah.
yeah,
From one thing learn a thousand things. Yeah.
yeah. If you know how to draw, you know how to draw in any medium. It's a fact.
Yeah, there's an adjustment time, but
Yeah, for
you
sure.
it's like in a college, like you can use your credits. Like, yeah, I can
Yeah,
transfer
yeah.
credits from this to this, but it takes a while. But it's kind of you get some shortcuts to get to the stuff that you need to improve.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Okay, the same process apply, right? When pixel art is kind of like I like to say pixel art is kind of like a mix of drawing and constructive with Lego. It's like small. You
Nice.
keep
Yeah.
building with these small with tiny blocks until you reach something. And looks looks like a drawing.
Yeah.
But pixel art kind of helped me because I had to end up working as graphic designer, but I was in a well, I won't say the name of the company, but it's because they're fairly big. They deal with fairly big brands, but it was awful. Like I was diagnosed with anxiety at the time. Yeah, I think I hit depression. Was it was a very low point of my life.
Hmm.
So when I started Pixar, I started to get more freelance work, and saw that I could work with that with my job, and I was like to be able to afford my life with most of the PixArt. But also PixArt also helped me to give space to get some more digital illustrated, more animation, classic animation work because uh, I can I kind of have more time to dedicate to that. I don't know if it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And one thing that kind of give me some curiosity. You mentioned about anxiety and depression and how pixel art is kind of drawing, but a little bit about building Lego bricks and stuff. And do you? I don't know. It's totally speculative. I don't know because I never did a pixel art. I find it fascinating. I even bought a book to maybe try to learn it. But would you say it kind of helps you with anxiety because of the way it works? It's very, you know, it's slower than just normal drawing, like building bricks. Because I know playing with Legos kind of relax people. Do you think there's any relation? Do working in your art and in your work helps you with anxiety, or the pressure of having to work with this makes it worse?
So yeah, at first was help a lot. Like was the time I started to learn PixArt and quit my job was during the first year of the pandemic, 2020. So it helped a lot. I was at home all day. I had someone saved, so I basically draw pixel art, play games, read books, all that. But it helped a lot to survive the first year of the pandemic. I kind of was already done with my job, so it wasn't something that the anxiety of my job wasn't pressuring me anymore. But now that is work is kind of back. Like not the pixel art itself. I love to.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
I think you're back. You're stuttering. You were stuttering a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like that. So now, when there is a pressure to have a lot of work simultaneous, and I am terrible at manage my time. So I keep sometimes the pressure mounts and I feel those like that. So, but I think the thing I have the most luck now is that I work with some incredible people and incredibly patient people, because every time I have to tell them that I'm going sometimes to be late, tell us sorry, and they are very, very, very comprehensive. So that is my luck. My luck that I got some amazing people that I work with, and they were very supportive. They understand when sometimes I delay work, but the pressure of the work, it doesn't help a lot. But it's something we have to do, and I rather
Yeah,
work
yeah,
in stuff that I love than getting back to an awful job and get back
for sure.
in the
Yeah,
void
for
again.
sure. I feel that a lot, and I think one thing that helps, this understanding is we talk a lot about mental health now, so everybody's kind of aware, and because we work a lot with indie authors, indie publishers, I think I have the impression we all went through this or are going through this, or we all have these problems, and so we are more understanding that. Yeah, we're not machines. We sometimes have to stop and recharge to do the work that we're supposed to do, because it won't be good if we're just forced to power through whatever we're going through, I think. So yeah,
Yeah,
I've been very fortunate to have found some very patient partners and collaborators. I have lost some were not, uh, and I'm very sorry for wasting their time. But yeah, it's great to find people that we feel safe to work to
yeah.
and we know that they know we can afford the same comprehension. We will do the same thing for them, right?
No, definitely, definitely.
No.
It's
Well,
great.
how
Yep.
yeah.
Yes, please speak.
What do we always ask guests here to talk about weird things, and I like to start asking, what is weird for you, and how would you define weird, and how do you seek it in your work and the life you're interested in your passions?
Weird, weird for me is always something that when society looks and declare that is not wrong but odd, something that it is very from time to time. Like I remember when I was like a kid, I wanted to make a tattoo, and like no, that you never get a job with a tattoo. So
Oh
tattoo
yeah.
was weird. Now it's very, very common, but it was weird. And it's something like that, like something that a place that it can be a place, can be a clothes, can be something, but it's something that society will look in a odd way. Like
Yeah. And
an example for me, before I started college in graphic design, I made social sciences. Like social science was for me like the college graduation that was considered weird by everyone. When I talk, oh, what do? I make social science. I wanted to be a social politician, like a social, not social politician. I can't remember the word, but studying politics.
mhm.
People look at me like, oh, you're it's incredibly weird. Why want to work with that? Like, yeah, because I like it. I like I like I like politics, and like politics is still something weird. If you say you like politics, not in the sense, oh,
Oh yeah.
I have like a political party. No, I like to understand the politics. Everyone will treat you like you're incredibly weird, because something that you need to hate, you can't like. If you even if you don't agree with anything
Yeah.
that's happening in
Yeah,
politics.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it's also a culture of making enemies, and then now the culture of hate, and
Yeah,
it's
definitely,
a
definitely,
lot more easy to manipulate people if they are all hating stuff, because you can sell enemies, so we don't need to worry about that. We just blame this and focus all energy on blame. So it's very easy to distract. So uh, this hate of politics is also cultivated too. It's easy to distract us, but it's
yeah,
as you
yeah.
said, it can be interesting because it's human behavior, it's interest. It has a lot to do with history, I think, right? In the
Yeah,
way.
definitely.
society organizes and culture. And it's not only, politics, not only political parties and politicians. There's
Yeah, the political
philosophy
parties
too, right?
is just like the surface, and the one thing that they
Yeah,
made people look, because if you look at that, you don't pay attention to and everything that happens that actually move the
yeah,
system. Not only Brazil, but like in US, we see a lot. The third political party is something like a sports team, something like that. Oh, you fight because like the political party, like in Brazil, like oh, gosta petista, gosta do you like PT, like the PSL, you're going to fight with the people, but you don't understand what those people, how the machine
yeah,
operates.
yeah,
So it is cool because you understand a little more of that. So you
yeah.
don't fall into the simple fight. I believe that at least.
Yeah, I think I had to study law and rights and kind of this stuff, to make an exam to work with what I do in my day job. And I always thought about a lot of this stuff should be, taught in schools, like knowing
Yeah.
your rights, know the constitution, know how the government works, because people think, yeah, I'm gonna elect this person for president, and they will solve all my
Solve
problems. They will do.
everything.
They can't do, yeah. The what they need to worry more about the legislative, the people that make the laws and stuff, and then the president
And they keep
is
voting
not as
joke
powerful. Yeah,
characters for
yeah, yeah.
for
Well,
deputies.
Brazil, yeah, yeah. I was thinking about like in Brazil we vote in characters, but I think everywhere is like seeing
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
United States, because I remember here in Brazil when Lula couldn't run anymore, there were transfers of votes from Lula to Bolsonaro, which are like
like
it's
what the fuck?
completely opposite because they weren't voting for what the proposers, the politics they're like proposing. They're voting for the character. So I like Lula, but and I like Bolsonaro. It's another character, and it's very cartoonish. I think
Yeah,
in some
but
ways. Yeah,
it's always remind me. I say that like I love Dune, the book, and it's something great that Dune is a book about like the perils of trusting a charismatic leader, and we see that a lot. Like,
yeah, yeah.
the people
In
like the character
yeah.
and don't know about anything else.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of this mythical culture, this we want to believe there's someone that's gonna save us, like a
Yeah.
savior, and that's very very dangerous.
It's kind of like
Uh,
Alan Moore. He says about a lot about like the rise of the cultural worship of superheroes and the rise of the fascists around the world, the far right. He said it is
yeah,
very connected because they both center around like powerful people that wants to change or fix or worse the world with very fast moves by
yeah,
themselves, and it's not possible. It's
yeah,
impossible.
yeah. Like society doesn't need to change, our culture doesn't, our values doesn't need to change. We just have to have this person here, and they will
Yeah,
fix everything. Yeah, yeah. I
we
never
don't
thought
have
about
to
that.
think
I
about
was,
it.
yeah, yeah. That makes sense. Wow. Yeah. How we're talking about weird, and then it's about weird games and weird people, or about role playing games too. And do you think role playing games are weird? And if you do, would you say what is like your favorite weird thing about it, or just your favorite thing about them?
Uh, yeah, I believe tabletop RPG are read, but like, I mean, which genre is good. Actually, my wife feeding the cat.
Yeah.
uh, but the weird thing about tabletop RPG is like it is. I believe so much more than a simple game when it's compared to any other media of games, because like we have all the social interactions with people that we have to invest in our characters, invest in the world in a way that with digital games, with board games, we don't have to. So the immersion value of a tabletop RPG is can be so much greater. The way we interact with the rules and with ourselves is something very unique. And I believe that it's very hard to have another kind of game. At least the way we play now, that will reach this kind of interaction that tabletop RPG have.
Yeah,
Because like you can play
it's
RPG. I'm sorry, continue.
no. Go ahead. I was saying it's a collaborative game. The way no
Yeah,
other game, can be. I mean, all games are kind of collaborative because the way you interact with the game, you are transforming it in a way. But in RPGs, it's built into the game for you to create stuff. You create the characters. You don't choose among. Well, not usually you don't choose among what is already done, like in a board game or in a video game. You have those limited options. You have the limited possibilities that is programmed in the game. And the great thing about role playing games is the possibility of the rulings of not of the people playing the games are also kind of the engine that runs the game, and they can
yeah, exactly.
improvise and create stuff that the game itself can't predict. So it's a concept that I recently started reading. I think that book by Jason Alexander, which is like so you want to be a game master, and it talks about active play that different from any other game. You're always playing the game. Like the GM isn't running adventure; he always has to create and react to things that are not there. You won't find the answer there. The answer won't come from the game; it will come from the participants of the game, right?
Yeah, yeah, no, totally. And the fact that even the GM, when GM is preparing the session, is the GM is actually playing the game, interact with the game.
Yeah,
Even when actually, if you think about it, when we read the book, is some sort of playing the game. We are interacting with the rulers. We are imagining how we're going to use it. Like it's
yeah,
something very very unique. Like we can get the rules, can read it, we can understand it, but when this application comes, it's very different because we can't easily choose what use, what can use, if we want to modify, if we don't want to modify. Like it's very very unique.
yeah,
And I believe tabletop RPGs can even be different things. Can be a more mechanical game, can be a more can be like more like a theater experience. Like everyone is just focused on role play the character, rules with them. So and it is about what the group wants, like not exactly what the rules. The rules has intention, but it's very modular when compared to another game. You can get, I don't know, World of Warcraft and say, oh, okay, I will play World of Warcraft in a different way. You can't.
yeah.
Like, but you
Like
you can get Primal Quest, yeah, and play it in a different way.
yeah, yeah. I mean, as you said, we can learn a lot from video games, and they learn a lot from us. Uh, but I think this concept of players as kind of authors of the game too. Like every GM is kind of a game designer. Is so unique, and even though some games have those mods that you can build new stuff, it's kind of get proximity of RPGs. But once it's done, you can't modify it on the fly as
Yeah,
RPGs. As RPGs are always in development in some ways,
and it
and
is so easy to make it yours. Like, and it's
yeah.
so easy to take a game, and it's so easy to make a game. Like,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
like you
Like
want to
if you
make
have
a tabletop
if you want to
RPG, get a paper, get a pencil, and start writing.
yeah. Yeah, if you want to make a video game, it's a lot more complicated, like in programming.
Yeah,
There are some platforms that make it kind of easier now, but it's still
ah,
like my kid loves Roblox.
Roblox.
Uh, yeah, and they have like this editor, and they say, "Oh, it's easy," but I open it, it doesn't seem easy to me. Like there's a lot of arrows and buttons, and I say, "No, it's not as easy as making table a
Yeah.
Pamphlet RPG. You can make RPG in one page. You can make a game
If you
in
want to
one
make the
day.
same
If you
RPG digital, like practically
yeah, oh
more
yeah,
work.
oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And what did you say would be the weirdest game you ever played? Whether it's tabletop or digital or whatever.
Tabletop RPG, the weirdest game I ever played, I believe was GURPS.
Why? How
GURPS
is
is
that?
so. I don't know. I play so. I believe it was something like my memory for playing a long time ago, and the fact that I didn't understand the rules, but it was so fascinating. Like the tabletop RPG that it's generic. Like I didn't know that at the time. So when I was
Yeah.
playing, it was weird. I barely knew what I was doing, but it's great. But
Do you remember
yeah,
anything in particular that like struck out to you? That's like, was it your first game, or did you
no,
play
no.
other?
My first game was Vampire the Masquerade.
And how? Yeah, it's kind of very different from vampire. So was
Yeah,
that the difference? Like it's not something, because vampire you just feel the the little circles and your character is done. And
yeah,
with GURPS you have to look at all these tables and have these points, and you have to make all these calculations. Was
yeah. No,
what
I
was
had
that made
this
you?
game had to help me because I didn't understand barely
Yeah.
anything. But I remember something that struck me different that and I discovered some time ago is that the Brazilian version of the GURPS has some layout changes. So
Oh
some
yeah.
tables don't like because they are not in this the page they're supposed to be because they
Okay.
wanted to localize the game for the layout to be used in both editions. Like if you're using the GURPS like the English version, you can use the Portuguese and they will be the same page. But it's caused a lot of confusion during the layout of the Portuguese version. And I
Hmm.
remember that
Yeah.
that was like some smash. The game was like, oh, look at the table at page 7 something. Wasn't there?
Yeah, it's a classic thing for Brazilian translations, I think.
Yeah,
But yeah, it was one of the reasons I decided, oh, I have to read those books in English because I'll find the stuff I'm not finding here. So,
yeah, yeah.
how do you have any ritual for creating your work when you sit down to make pixel art or illustrate? Do you have any procedure? Like, do you listen to music? Do you put some special shoes? Do you put on a funny hat or anything like this?
A funny hat. I have Saint Patrick's hat that my partner stole from a few years back during college, but I don't use that. I like to listen to music, but yeah, it's basically like the ritual of drawing. Like, oh, we have to do something. We get into the internet, look for reference. Sometimes I like to make some warm up to drawing very fast, something to like, oh, okay, like draw something that will clear my mind so I can start. Sometimes when the
Like
anxiety
in paper or digitally? How do you warm
digitally,
up?
I use it. I used to draw in paper, but I need to go back actually because paper is so. It's much better to clear the mind to drive creativity. Like you can't.
Yeah,
I don't know the way the pencil works. The paper is like hits different. Yeah,
yeah.
okay, I feel that. No, I believe my drawing is much better in paper than it is digital because that
What's much better in paper?
my drawing style I believe is better in
Yeah,
paper than it's digital because that
yeah. Because your senses, you're using everything. Like you can feel the because digitally you do have like this pen, but it doesn't feel the same way as the pen on the paper. It's always, no matter what tool you use, it kind of feels the same as it touches the screen. So I don't know. I think the reactions on this, it doesn't feel the same at all. And then
uh,
when you're engaged in the paper, you react to it better, so you can. I don't know. Yeah, I think
yeah, no,
it's
yeah, it's something
yeah,
different, something that feels good. Like I maybe did this is
yeah.
something weird from because there are people that are drawing perfect. Like they
Oh yeah,
can have the same consistent style between digital and paper, and I like
yeah.
I
For
feel
me,
like
it's very hard.
different
Yeah,
people drawing.
yeah.
Uh,
I mean, we obviously see similarities, but I do prefer my drawing on paper than my drawing digitally for sure as well.
the way when they make some drawing tablets that have the same texture of paper and a drawing, that
And I
it's
keep
unbelievable.
paper. but for drawing,
I,
like they do in Kindle, right? Yeah, that
I
would be
remember
fun. Yeah.
I remember, I believe in 2010, something, the Wacom has had a small device that you put inside above the paper, and the device will turn the drawing you do the paper into a vector that you could upload to PC.
Mm,
I never bought it, but I believe that okay, that is magical, but something that I never saw again. But that's sad.
yeah. Yeah, and I never saw anyone using it, like just in the ads. Ah. How do you can you identify any place from where you draw a lot of inspiration from? I know as artists we're always, for senses up, trying to capture interesting things. Uh, but I do recognize that I draw a lot from my childhood, from shows that I watched or books that I read or comics. Can you identify any place from where you draw inspiration a lot?
Uh, for Pixar specifically, we can't avoid to go back to childhood because it's where most of the Pixar are. Like so, like the old Final Fantasy games, like insanely inspiration for me, especially Final Fantasy Tactics. Like I said, it's the best Pixar art I ever saw in my life is Final Fantasy Tactics, and
Still
I
today, the
I
original
did
one?
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But it is, might be because I'm a bit of a fanboy, so I will defend with my life.
Yeah.
So. But even if it's not the best, it's like it is great. It is
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
is very influential. Like if you see any isometric game, I put money into because I will bet that the Pixar is inspired at least in part by Final Fantasy Tactics, like Zelda from Super Nintendo was very influential for me.
Yeah.
Uh, my drawing style is mostly inspired by Mike Mignola of all people, and it was great for me because
Wow.
I almost never read any Hellboy book and book comic. I just like this style of Mignola.
Yeah, I haven't read Hellboy. I have read, his Lankmar series, which is fantastic. But yeah, I mean, the art is so iconic that you don't have to read the comics. You
No, just want to
recognize
look.
it instantly, and you can love the art either way. And yeah, but I want to read it someday. But for because of RPG, I got it straight to the Lankmar series that he did, and it's incredible for sure. And now that I'm thinking, yeah, how do you approach you know drawing from Mike Manola and translating that into pixel art, as you said?
It is kind of like a ever learn experience because there is a pixel artist. I don't know his name, but his handle is Blasco on Twitter. He's so much better at translate Minol art than me. Like his pixel art when he's simulating Minol style is perfect. Me,
Oh,
I never like to simulate the style of the people. It's more I
oh
like to
yeah, no,
incorporate
I mean,
elements to my work.
what did you
Not
pick
all
from
technique.
him? What did you learn? Yeah.
It is it's a pen. Like most of my time when I do pixel art, it's kind of smaller pixel art, like to 32 pixel size. So
Hmm.
we have to be very careful when adding the hard shadows and all of
Yeah.
those. But I try to work like I usually I usually focus on like having the sun hit the part like oh this the left of the character is the light and the right is the shadow. So more to the right, you
Hmm.
have the hard shadows that will follow the black outline. I kind of work that
The
way.
high contrast.
Yeah, very high contrast. The project that I use mostly is my own personal project like City Noire and the fan project that I'm making for Blades in the Dark, like the Pixel the Dark project. The ones that I try to adapt to more the style of Nolan because I believe is the one that I fits mostly.
Yeah, yeah, fits for Blades in the Dark. It's
Yeah,
it's fits perfect. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
yeah. Uh,
Uh,
Slowly, I'm
are you?
making Blades in the Dark a cute game.
Is there another creator? I know we're talking about Mike Mignola, but is there a creator from any field? It could be from games, from art, from writing or music, anything. because of the way they work or they approach their craft or they approach their presence in their field that inspire you in the way you approach your work and your presence and anything like this, or not
Oh,
necessarily?
in tabletop RPG, there are so many people. Like, I got to work with tabletop RPG, indie tabletop RPGs, very like just a few years ago. Like, my first work was in
Hmm.
2021 with Sunpipe Games, and I still work with them. So like, I met so many people that I use as a reference because they are so good. You included. I like your work. I like
Thank you.
how you approach work. I like how a great person you are. So I try to see that. But your work, I believe, like Manuel worked with. I used to Sandbag game is Navi and Drake, like a great reference for me.
Yeah.
Spencer Campbell, I love his work too. John Harper, of course, because I can't help but feel with to have a reference of his work. Like I love Blizzard. Blizzard, like one of the best tabletop RPG I ever played.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's incredible.
Phone tabletop RPG, and I feel lucky that like I got the chance to work with almost all the people that I really admire in the scene.
Nice. Yeah.
Uh,
It's sometimes I can't believe that I've worked with some people too. Like, and when we talk with those people and when we hang out with them, it's like, wow. Like
and one
my
person
yeah,
that I ended up working, but I never talked with because of you actually, because we are Johanar, because I admire his work a lot, like one of the best illustrators I ever saw. So, because of Card Wars, I can't say that I have my art alongside his one game, and it was great for me. Like um,
yeah,
for tabletop RPG scene, and I feel that that is great for indie tabletop RPG scene to have so many great people that can inspire, can use as reference for our work.
yeah. And there's so many great people. Like even for this podcast, like the list just keeps growing, and I feel anxious that I can invite everyone at the same time, and it's weird.
And one thing
How
that
are
encouraged
you?
me, no, so please
Go
continue.
ahead. Go ahead.
One thing that it helped me a lot to encourage me to keep trying to work with tabletop RPGs more is because how many good people from Brazil that I found, like you, like Manuel, like who, Fer Salaterra, or Felipe. I'm
Yeah.
terrible with last names, so I Felipe. There are so many great people that keep seeing work as designer, as illustrator. Oh, okay, I can't fit it here. It's because there's a lot of people that I admire that are from my country. It's great to find a place like this.
Yeah, and then when we help each other out, I think
Yeah.
it's great. Like I even think like there's a lot of people when we should have like maybe a Brazilian guild of creators and just
Oh,
put
please.
someone in like in a WhatsApp group and just try to lift each other's up, or even like a Discord or something that we could even coordinate. Uh, oh, post about my project on Reddit or something that we can post ourselves that could really help each other out. Like people have this cooperatives, so we could try do something to
Yeah.
help each other, like from Brazil and Latam and etc.
I was up to that,
Oh,
especially because I always need someone to read my probably very bad rules. So I need experienced designer to read that for how it's terrible. Change that.
yeah. I, we tried reading each other's stuff. Sometimes we're like all busy, but lifting each other and sometimes doing some as we develop, like not everything at the same time, but it's just sharing a little bit. It does help, and we could like schedule play tests and stuff like this. That would be a good idea. But are you working on anything right now that you would like to talk about, or any projects you have going on that you would, I don't know, talk about
uh,
your readers' favorite part of
I
it?
work with St. Pega on Hell Piercers. The new tabletop RPG. It's been great. Like St. Bug's great. Like the way the developers are cooperative. Uh, you stutter again. But you're back.
Yeah, I'm here.
Uh,
I'm here. I'm
yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah. Now you. So it's been great to work with them. Like her piece is shaped up to be like a really good tabletop RPG, like for people that like tactical combat. But I work mostly. No, I try to help them with designing, but because I mismanage my time a lot, I end up working on only with the art. But I still want to help them with the design sometime. And but so far this year is the only tabletop RPG that I work in like as freelancer. I have my personal projects that I sit in Noire that I've been working like for a hell of a long time. I need to finish writing this year so I can at least focus
Do you want
on.
do you want to talk a little bit about this project that is you have been cooking for
Oh, I can.
a long while? Or?
Oh, I can. Yeah,
Yeah.
City Noir is like my baby. I can say it is a project that everyone says for you to not make. The first project is a big ambitious project, and I am stupid enough that I started with that. It wasn't a purpose. Like I wanted to
Yeah.
make something fast, and we started with an idea of a setting for me to study pixel art. Like my mind works very for study very easily if I have an objective. And I put myself, okay, let's make a setting that could be for a game, for something, and I look, okay, like I want to make a tabletop RPG out of this, and it's been 3 years now, going to the fourth. Uh,
And how has been the developing? Like, what stage are you on? What do you
the
find the most difficult part of developing
The
your game?
most difficult part, at least for me, is actually find ways to play test the game, like beat people, time, because
Mm,
uh,
yeah.
because there is a part that is you can't do it alone. So like, okay, I need
Yeah.
other people to test it, and it's very, and because I'm terrible at keeping up with community on Discord. I'm terrible at keep contact with a lot of people now, and I
Yeah. Me
keeping
too.
keeping asking people, asking sorry about because that. So it's hard for me to enter and I can be a part of a community long enough for me to, I hate people who want to play test my games. So I try to talk with people that are close to me, that I had enough intimacy, so I can, the friends or working colleagues, that I can ask them
Yeah.
for play tests. But still, it's hard to find the time for them. So it's not easy. So
Yeah.
I kind of I reached a point that, okay, I'm reaching a good balance for the game, that I will, for unfortunately, to look at it, okay, it's time for me to move, because if you're going to play test, the way it's hard to play test for me, I will play test it till the end of time, because it's hard to find time.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about maybe doing like a lot of publishers are doing, like making a ASCII version and releasing it, and people would test it and play it and give you feedback for you to work on your final version eventually, or
Yeah, I'm
wouldn't
trying
that
to do.
work?
I think about that because, like I said, I want to finish the writing like this year. So finish in a way that will be
Mm.
written, not in a way that I will never go back and fix it if I find some
Oh,
problem.
okay.
So
Yeah.
I want to finish to the point. Okay, I can release to the public, and the public can give me feedback. I can change.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I might do that. I might release the Zashkan version that will be a final, not fully playtested version, and
Mm-hmm.
people can be to give feedback. Might charge or might not charge.
Yeah.
And this can give me some time to work on the layout, to work on the art of the game.
Yeah. Yeah. And what part of the developer, like what is missing? What do you have to finish
I'm
in
finishing
the
the core rules. Like the sketch part of everything is done. I really need to finish like the proper writing, like the add the fluff text, yeah, the like
Mm-hmm.
writing a coherent way. But the core rules are almost done, so I will move to the set, the word, the word building. And I believe that's a part of it took the longest, because I have to
Yeah.
find in me the writer's part to describe a word in an interesting way.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes it's just like pouring words out that
Yeah.
comes out, and then you go back and make it look
So far, I'm
readable and
structuring the
pretty.
game
Yeah,
like a historian describing the rules and the word
yeah.
for some reader. But
Have you written a lot already? Is it big, or how big of a game do you think it will be?
no, I don't want it to be like if it's going in the big is
Oh yeah.
because most of the word building and the art assets inside the book. Because the rules I want to be
Oh
very,
yeah.
very simple. The idea is to be a tactical game, but a tactical game with some role play flair. I'm inspired a lot uh, by, by, uh, by, by immersive sim games like Dishonored, Thief digital games. That is like when the game that game that you look and say if your option is to attack the people in a direct way is the most boring option you have. And I want to make a tactical game that is about that. So a
Mm.
tactical game that is more interested if your character try to pass, to use stealth to pass an approach to pass the enemy, and try to, or if they want to strike the enemy down, they will use clever ways. And most of the playtest was actually to not discourage, but to show the player that it's more fun to play to be creative instead of I want to attack the character with my sword. Okay, you attack the character with the sword. So it's being a very interesting
Yeah.
idea. Experience.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to check it out. I remember you sharing some of art assets that you were making for it, and it looks cool.
And
How
yeah, yeah, please continue.
would you would you say you have like a personal style, a word mark that marks your work as yours? Can you do you think you can identify something that you live in your work?
I I believe my color palette is kind of unique. Not exactly unique, but more personal. I like to use purple a lot. Like,
Do you have any reason why do you like purple, or why do you
a few years
use it a
ago, I
lot?
started to draw in purple, and I enjoy it. Can't know the reason why, but it is I started to add everything. Like in City Noire, when it's night, the sky turned purple, like this instead of
Yeah.
so.
I particularly like purple a lot. I think it's kind of this mythical color. It reminds me of sorcery, of the weird, and it's kind of dark and
Yeah,
mysterious.
yeah.
So yeah, I like
It,
purple a lot. Some
and I
people
think
don't.
it transitioned very well into like you can have some cozy feelings with purple, you have some very menacing feelings with purple, and
Yeah,
yeah, and for City
it's
Noir
between
itself,
warm and cold. Yeah,
yeah, and for City Noir itself, like the art style will be my isometric art style, so most of the art will have a very cutesy style, like because but the word itself is a danger word. Your characters in the world are doing the revolution. So like sometimes I think the palette art style will create the contrast that some I don't see use it a lot, but I like this idea. And it reminds me a lot of some older PlayStation games or SNES games that have the cute art style, but the story itself is very serious. Like it's like the characters are it's like the characters are cute, but they're doing serious stuff, right? And they for Cinema is doing that, and I believe Purple helped me a lot. Another thing I
yeah.
think is personal. Like every project that I work, I will try to add some character with some red scarf on it because I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Uh,
Do Do you have other hobbies? Besides role playing games. Probably. Do you play video games? My question is, do you have any kind of hobby or creative output that you do just for yourself and not as work and related to RPGs and pixel art?
I like to read. I like to read. I like to read. I like to play. I try on and off to make physical exercises, and I always give up. I want to learn
What
some.
do you do? What do you do
Ah,
for physical exercise?
I usually go to walk, and I had a bicycle, but I don't do that anymore. but I need, like, I seriously need.
Yeah,
uh,
yeah. I mean, I I have always been very sedentary,
yeah, me
and
too.
because of anxiety, uh, I decided to, I had a crisis because of the pandemic, and I decided to attack anxiety from all angles as I could, and exercise become just a habit, and kind of sometimes like I feel stressed, and I have to go exercise, and then it kind of helps.
Yeah, it's something that, yeah, it's something that I do every time I like anxiety hit a little harder. I give up and go for a walk. Like, take some time,
Yeah,
go
walks.
to something near, and it's helped a
Yeah.
lot. Yeah, definitely.
Walks are awesome because they're kind of exercise and then can be kind of a meditation too if you're like try to feel the winds and hear the sounds and kind of stuff. I love doing
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
that as well.
It's so peaceful. It's a great place to work, to have like have ideas that you never thought. Like, even for work, it's great. Like, okay, I
Yeah, yeah,
I have a hard time to draw. So I don't know, a motorcycle. I go to work, to a walk, and I go back to not exactly a solution, but an idea of how I could solve the issue.
yeah. Because you empty your mind and you leave your problems to your subconscious to work on that instead of you trying to figure it out. And
Uh,
then and sometimes that's all you need really to have the pieces falling into place. I
And
guess.
I love
I
to observe, like, observe mundane things, like the texture of trees, like the how the cracks in the sidewalk are. I think this is so good for us to learn. I have this problem that I believe everything I do in the be about work, because even that I use that because I want to know how to draw it, but it's also kind of peaceful. Like, you see the world, you see the imperfections of the world. Like, okay, I look at this tree, I look how this color changes,
yeah.
how the wood is breaking through it. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, it is work because we work with art, but it's not work because it's art, and because
uh,
it's different. Like you want to learn because you want to create something. You want to. It's not about I have to know this because I will sell more and I'll get richer, and it's not about greed. It's about creating. It's. I think it's more generous than it's about getting something for you, right? I think art has a lot to do about giving. It is giving something to people. It's a gift in a way. It's obviously something that we love. We're kind of making for ourselves too, but it's something that we create and it's out there and people can enjoy. So uh, thinking about that because I do think about that a lot. And like uh, watching Adventure Time with my wife, and like seeing all this weird and wonderful things in the cartoon, and she likes commenting, and I comment about, yeah, I could use that in that game, and things like this. And like, oh, you always think about that. I don't know. It just comes to me. It's
yeah, yeah, and it's a
it's
lot of times might be ideas that we might never even use, but it's fun to have
yeah.
this exercise, this mental
Yeah,
exercise.
it's an exercise. Yeah, it's practice. Creativity is a practice.
Yeah.
If you don't use it, it's hard for you to use afterwards. Like if you spend too much time without drawing or without writing, when you get back to it, it's like an exercise. If you spend too much time without exercising, when you go back exercising, it's gonna hurt. So it's the same thing in a
Uh,
way,
and,
right?
and I feel it's good sometimes, because sometimes to remember that it's not just work. Like, we can we can feel burnout. Like, I can feel not exactly burnout in the sense that, oh, I can't try no, but tired of drawing, tired of work with that. But it's when you go out, when you see things, when you think of things that you think just for fun, it
Yeah,
hits different. Like, we kind of help understand that, oh, it's more than work. Like, it's
yeah,
because I feel like we all have problems of dissociate ourselves from work. Like, you, when you ask me, like, who are you? Like, okay, I'm a graphic designer and I'm a fixed artist, and inside of me, like, fuck, who the hell am I?
yeah,
Just what I
yeah.
know,
That's
what I do.
Hello, weirdos! This is Diogo Nogueira, and I'm back with a word from our sponsors. Me! I just released a new game called Kosmosaurs, in which you play a dinosaur space ranger who protects the galaxy from evil threats such as slime bankers, undead pirates, and Kosmosaurs from a void dimension. It's a game with a runes light system inspired by Forged in the Dark and Lasers and Feelings. It comes with a bunch of tables for you to generate content for it. If you know my games, they're really easy to play and they have tools to help you improvise and play with low prep. It's an ideal game for one-shots, short campaigns, and introducing new people to the hobby, and it's a really perfect family game. I play with my kids all the time. It's a game inspired by Saturday morning cartoons. It's really well illustrated by Lucas Kowalski from Poland, and with a great layout by Guilherme Gontijo. It's a really fun game. You should check it out on DriveThruRPG, itch.io, or exclusively in print on exaltedfuner.com. I have many other games there, check them out. All the links are in the show notes, so click there. And let's get back to Weird with our chat. Yeah, that's a weird question, right? Because who we are, we're carrying all these labels, but what if we didn't have this job? If we didn't, who we are besides this stuff that we do and like who we are, it's very hard to define, right?
It's something that we never we have to learn by ourselves because when other people try to help us figure it out, and not their fault. It's not like society measure us by how much money we can make, by
Yeah.
we are financially. So
Oh yeah.
other people would like to see that way. So we have to start with us to understand ourselves and try to us to
Oh
see
yeah.
other people like what they are outside of that.
Yeah. And it's very important, especially I think for artists and creators, and in our case, like indie creators, uh, to have their own definition what success is, because like uh, we see a lot of Kickstarters and people, getting awards and having millions of dollars on their Kickstarters, and we think like, oh, we have to get there. We have
Yeah,
that's success, but not necessarily. You have to figure out what success is. Success having your game played by someone, in the other side of the planets that you never imagined someone would play. That's a fucking success for me.
yeah,
Having someone that you admire and you study their work come to you and say they like the stuff that you made, even though you're not making tons of money, you're not getting a award. That's gonna be a fucking finishing something.
yeah.
Getting
Uh,
your projects and actually finishing something. You don't have even to sell a copy.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know,
Get it to work on something. Like
yeah,
we said that it's very easy to start up tabletop RPG, but it's not easy to finish one.
yeah, yeah,
So if you keep working on
yeah.
that, it's already a big achievement. So
Starting is already a big step. I mean, a lot of people want to make stuff, but they never, even start. So starting is already a big step, but finishing is so much important because we, this perfectionism, like we have to make this great thing and we never finish. So you can get demotivated and never try again. So
yeah,
I would
yeah,
suggest, make
yeah.
easy
And we keep
bad
measuring
stuff at
ourselves.
first. Yeah,
And we keep measuring ourselves with people that I like that have 20, 30 years of experience.
oh yeah,
No, if you're starting now, you're not going to be good, and this is not an issue. Like it's life.
yeah,
The problem, I believe, the tragic thing about it is we are seeing artists having this issue being weaponized against them because like the AI stuff is always some idiot say, "Oh, I can't learn how to proper draw, so I will use AI." No, it's like this is an excuse to make money. Like they don't care about the art stuff, but it is something that is being turned into an argument against artists. Like, oh, you have too much experience, I will never reach you. It's not like that. Like once some time ago, every artist starts from nothing.
yeah, and your style doesn't necessarily has to be that super detailed that
No,
takes
no.
years and years to. There's artists that I think art has a lot more to do about confidence than with craft, because you can make really cool art that is not really very formally studied. So, uh, and you can make collages. You can make a lot of good stuff without resorting to, for the lack of a better word, stealing the work of others. One thing that I was thinking about this AI stuff, that if they wanted to make that, they should have like a body of artists that are paid to like
Is
make the art for the AI to be fed. Like they, yeah, this AI make art, but we have like 30 artists that are working every day for as long as
getting
this
paid?
thing is running, and they are making art to feed this thing, and they're not like using other people's work. That's what this should be doing if we are
Yeah,
going
yeah.
to make this.
Well, but
That
it's
would
something that
be,
without regulation, this is going to no, is going nowhere.
yeah,
Like you can just keep stealing and you keep getting destroyed.
yeah.
And
It's
that's the tragedy of it. Like when art when I believe like drawing itself like is can be used to marketing, but the art aspect of it when you just see it as a value for money, like you can destroy it. Like say, oh,
yeah,
I'm going to make art is just valuable if it makes money, so we can use AI because AI will make it faster. Even though I don't even believe that it's truly art, I believe that it's an image, like it's a drawing.
yeah, exactly. That's exactly, art requires their human, you know touch, their human intention. I think that
Intention, yeah, yeah.
the big thing about this is intentionality, because yeah, you make a prompt and it made what I wanted. Not exactly, it made a
Not
lot of
exactly.
decisions for you that you gave up for this thing. You are not
And
make decision, you didn't decide that this is the angle or this is the tail of the arbor. There's and when an artist does, the example I always use here in the podcast is that last supper painting, like that every character is doing something and is telling a story, and you won't see any AI generated image that tells a story like this.
no,
They technically they look all right, although there's a lot of, if you're artists, you can detect a lot of mistakes there, but they are like these beautiful empty shells, like
and yeah,
eggs, like Easter eggs, and you open and there's nothing inside, because the decisions, the intentions, and when you make art, like, oh, I'm gonna make this arrow, this detail here, this represents this or that thing there represents that. Oh, there's a detail of this animal there. Hey, you create a narrative, you're creating a story, but when you give that up to a machine that makes all these decisions for you, there's nothing there.
yeah.
It's
and
empty.
and
Yeah.
and it's even we can go even deeper with that because like that there was the elephant and the monkeys like years ago that make some art and even with that like they say oh because a monkey can make art so yeah I can too, but the monkey had a unique style. You see the paint the monkey
No,
made
yeah.
was something unique to that. And AI with the same prompt, the same AI will give you 10 different images. The AI can
Mm.
decide the direction. But even if you go to the
Animals
point,
have
okay, if you
animals
go
have
to,
emotions.
yeah,
Basically,
yeah,
that animals have emotion. It's
yeah,
ended like this.
the monkey
Yeah,
chimpanzee, you can remember, was painted that because of a reason. Because they want it. The AI, it is because it's not even AI, it's an algorithm.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's
It's
like,
just reproducing a pattern. It's not
yeah,
making
is
decision. It's not creating anything. It's
and,
repeating something
and if
that
it's reaching
someone.
points that you can say, oh, it's now art, it's a fully AI, the art will belong to the AI, will not belong to the people
Yeah,
that type the prompt.
that's true
So
as well. Yeah,
yeah, so like what is but yeah, and I think like the part that sometimes the art community kind of falters is that they keep engaging with the talking about what is art, but it's kind of like a smokescreen for the tech bros because they don't
yeah,
care if it is. They just create this argument for people don't go after the regulation. Then what we
yeah,
need to be pressuring our governments, and they keep using the way they want. Like we can see like the Mid Journey guy was called like saying how much thousands of arts that they had stolen
Yeah.
for the algorithm. Nothing keep happening against them because they are people, not only because of that, because they have money, they have a big legal people,
Yeah.
more power, but on the internet the arguments sometimes devolve into the regulation to, oh, okay, you can make art. The people don't care about art. You can tell them
Yeah.
200 times that they can make art if they want. They don't want. They want money and fast.
Yeah. Yeah. They want the shortcuts for something that
Exactly. And
It,
sad as it is,
it's the concept of delayed gratification. It's something that I'm trying to teach my kids. Like everything is delayed gratification. Food
yeah, yeah.
is delayed gratification. Like you don't eat it like it's raw and it just you cook it and it takes a while and it gets better. Everything is this. Everything in humanity is delayed gratification.
And it's great because you put effort in it and it's becoming part of you. Like
Yeah,
you
and
draw.
you grow. The thing takes is better. Everyone learns, and the next time will be even better because you learn it. Because if you're just clicking a button,
It's getting
it's fast
boring.
food. Yeah, it's boring.
It's boring.
It's fast food. It's bad for you. You get complacent. And one another thing with AI, it's gonna get homogeneous. It's everything will look the same over time. And
Yeah.
and and who is gonna create? Who is gonna be creative? Because if it's only a pattern being repeated, it's gonna be the same, and we are all.
Yeah,
It's gonna be all the
it's
same.
the same plastic thing, yeah. Because
Yeah.
another argument they keep saying, oh, you also use the reference, yeah, but reference is different because you're not copying the person. Like I said, when we use a reference
Oh,
of a great
yeah.
designer, we are not
It's
copying that.
completely different. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's different. Like we are you are using parts of them that we admire, but turning it into something of our own. When like you can, like I said, might be not is very important to my art. If I don't say it, most people won't see it in my
Yeah.
art.
Yeah. Yeah. But you don't see a piece that's like because you see with these AI images, they are clearly like you get two images, you point the two in front of each other, like the same angle, like the same they're
Yeah,
clearly a copy, and that doesn't happen with like real artists.
yeah,
Of course, there are copies. They're like they
yeah,
make the painting like forgeries, but people making like those people say, "Oh, I make this new image." When an artist, a human makes something, uh, I love this phrase from some like artists that like we are incapable of making perfect copies because we are fallible. We're making mistakes, and 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 that's a great thing. AI generated an image is not about mistakes, it's about being something perfect. And
perfect.
I
Yeah,
think human arts, it's really about the mistakes. It's not it's also about the things that the artist makes great, but it's also about the mistakes, the thing that's missing there, the errors, and that tells something about their art and their artist. And that's what is how different it is. Yeah, I can study these artists and use it as a reference, but I'm fallible and I will be incapable of making a copy, and I'll inevitably insert something of myself, my limitations, my values, and that's his creation. And
yeah,
that yeah. But as I said, it's just a smoke screen for like it's stealing people's work and not paying the rights. As you said, if they want to do that, hire a body of artists, make them work every day, and you have a bunch of art to use.
exactly. Yeah,
No. And how now we're getting into more personal part of the podcast. Uh,
yeah.
I'd like to ask you, about weird experiences and things, about supernatural and spirituality. So, have you ever had any, experience with the supernatural? Have you like ever seen a ghost or like a monster? Like you live in the country of the Brazil, so have you ever heard of those, werewolf stories, and have you ever experienced anything weird out there?
When I was a kid, I lived like in a house that was kind of far away in the city. Now the urbanization reached that part, but it wasn't before. And there was always stories of like ghosts because there's a lot of houses that were being built in the time, so we had a lot of stories of ghosts living in the house, or the other house people died there, uh, and it was near that was the uh, I think it's not just like the butcher shop, but it's the place where the cattle go to the slaughterhouse.
There's
It
a
was
lot of
slaughterhouse.
house, yeah.
So the place was kind of the kind of fable being the hot parts of the city. So like me and my cousins were very close at the time. We always try to give up make stuff that we're supposed to like get into the houses and trying to flash ghosts, trying to capture them on camera. Now, my father had a very heavy like your camera, so we we get it borrowed and we go there
Mhm.
like myself, I think I am a spiritualist person. I don't have a religion. Like try to make I try to make religion don't affect me, but I am kind of a spiritualist person. I kind of believe that there is some weird stuff around us that we don't understand. Might be ghosts, might be spirits. I don't know, but I find it interesting. I am very interested about that. Uh,
Do you have any spiritual practice? Any? Do you pray? Do you have any ritual, anything like this, or?
No, when well, I was Catholic before. Like Catholic don't believe too much in ghosts. No, they they
Yeah.
did, but I when when I was younger, I meditated more. Like don't know if it counts as some. It is spiritualistic, but it's not exactly
Yeah, yeah.
related. But I
Did
remember
you
that
stop meditation? Do you
I
don't meditation anymore?
I do not as often as I did before, but I use more as exercise for calming, like to me again with anxiety. It helped me a lot. Like I remember I
Yeah.
had during the September 7th from 2021 that we were on the verge of the coup from Bolsonaro. I
Yeah.
had like heavy anxiety attack that day. Like like I thought of like so I that day was kind of I get back to meditate because I control my respiration at the time. I was feeling very bad. I think I was going to pass out. My heart was very accelerated.
Wow. Yeah.
I don't know what happened that day. Like we ended up Bolsonaro being a massive coward. Thank God.
Yeah. Yeah.
but that house that I lived in, me and my friends, me and my cousin, we never found a ghost, but I remember one time. Oh, it was close to the cemetery. It was a very strange. We had this slaughterhouse. We had a lot of people
Wow.
was being built, and we have
Everything in the same place.
at the same place. Like the
Wow.
and
Yeah.
I never found anything. But one time, like a few years later, I was getting back to my house. Like I was
Hmm.
16, I believe. I was getting back to my house, and I saw like a pale figure, like people shaking the door of the cemetery. It was like 4 a.m. stuff like that. I I was a little drunk, but I wasn't that drunk. Like,
Wow.
I freeze. Like, I froze. Like I saw there's like a pale figure like with something like wasp, something with a veil, something like that,
Yeah.
shaking the door of the cemetery. But I forgive myself. Oh my god! Like what I'm seeing, and I was alone. Like then when I
Yeah.
try again back got back to control my body. Try to I got to another street, like walking very fast until I start running. Like I keep telling myself, oh, it's just a crazy person, just a crazy person, nothing supernatural.
Yeah. We do hear a lot of stories about the white lady or this kind of ghost, like this lady wearing veils and stuff here in Brazil. I don't know if that's a common stories in other countries. Maybe the
Yeah,
weirdos out there who are listening to this can answer us. But here in Brazil, I think it's very common about the stories, like in 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 paths or in streets at
yeah,
night near cemeteries. The spirits of this woman wearing veils all of white, and they take people away or something. I don't know what's that about, but yeah, I
But
remember seeing something like this too. But as a kid, I mean, we are very impressionable. But yeah, that's
as a kid,
weird.
I saw ghosts in every corner. I was very, very coward. Like, if you turn off the lights, like every shadow from me was a ghost. Like, my God, like I'm going to die
Yeah.
tonight.
Yeah, I was very scared as a kid too. Like yeah, in our home, we have like a big hallway between my room and the living room, and they had like a bathroom right in the middle. And those stories about you go in the mirror in the bathroom and you say, "Oh, I killed Joan d'Arc," or any of those, like the blondes in the mirror or anything like this. So I thought something would come out of the mirror and grab me. So every time I would go to the living room, I would leave my bedroom and would just sprint to the hallway until I get to the living room. I would just run back
Yeah.
and forth because I wouldn't just walk through the hallway, because if it was too slow, the thing in the bathroom would get me for sure. So
I,
yeah.
I remember a terrifying experience that I had was when my sister and my friend of mine, because decided to watch like the Exorcist the first time.
I never
Uh,
watched it. It's still
no,
today. I never
no,
watched.
they watch. I don't, but they watch at a room next to my room. And I remember I started. I had a Super Nintendo at the time. I turned it on and I wasn't playing anything. I just like froze it, like trying to like just raise the sound so I can't hear the movie. But I
Mm.
remember I like my then when the movie was then the movie finished. My sister and my friends all they all get back to my room so can keep playing something. They were all terrified. And the fact they were terrified made me it's even more scared because like my sister is older than me and she was very brave. Like it's water or was no problem. And I was very scared. She was scared. Like that movie will that movie will kill us. Like
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I kind of want to watch now, but I mean, I don't have anyone to watch with. My wife doesn't watch horror movies or anything, and my kid is a kid yet.
I
But I
don't
was
know.
too afraid to watch anything when I was a kid. So I'm 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 making my way through the stuff that I didn't watch back
My
then.
wife
Because
don't.
now I feel kind of silly, but
I, it might be. I still don't have the courage to watch it because
I,
because
I'm going. I'm gonna try. I'll report to you how I
you
felt about it.
because the point of me I like play like horror games both digital and tabletop RPG like
Yeah,
I really
me
like some
too.
sessions of like Call of Cthulhu something like that, but I'm terrified of movies.
Yeah,
It's terrifying.
uh, I just
Alien RPG Heart the Sea Beneath. I love Heart the Sea Beneath. Like, it's a great game for some horror sessions. Like but movie, no, don't.
yeah. Uh, how have you ever had any experience with states of altered awareness, whether they are through meditation or hypnosis, dreams, or even use of psychedelics or anything?
A little bit of both of everything. Like I remember the first time I got really drugged. It wasn't because I broke my leg, and I was given a lot of work for the doctors to. But the how we spell Jesus in English?
Cast.
Yes, yeah. I was giving a lot of
Yeah.
work for that. I was like 6 year old, so they drugged me like heavily. So I remember it was another stuff with scary movie. I have watched Aliens the day before. So when I was heavily drugged and I keep seeing aliens around the world, like when I was started recovering. And my mother, when she was trying to comfort me, like to calm me, she still told me that I kept telling that she's not my true mother. She was the alien queen.
Wow.
But
And have
I have a session of hypnosis too, because but I don't remember a lot of it. Like yeah, they said I talk a lot about my past too, because most traumas of the past, like a lot of issues with my father that I had when I was a kid. So, but it's always something that I can really remember. A lot,
Yeah.
but and with
Have you
drugs,
ever
like,
had
right?
yeah, have you ever had any other experience with drugs that made you see
With,
stuff after that, or no?
with drugs too, but like was more like seeing weird colors, like I did Shadow Diamond. It's diamond that
Yeah, yeah.
I drank with my friend. He had like he was like very spiritualist person, so we drank with him. I drank with him. It was weird. Like you, I feel uh, like you. I see weird colors, but I did just feeling that you feel that you're looking for yourself from a different point of view. Like
Yeah.
uh, was something that okay, you look at it yourself and like the time I can't remember again because I can't everything very fuzzy, but I remember that I didn't like the version of me that I saw. I,
Yeah.
it leads to a lot of introspection after, like when you start to think, the
Yeah.
few things you remember. I didn't like a lot of how I had. I was like a time that I was drinking a lot during college. I wasn't like the most reliable person, so uh, I started to rethink yourself. I think like and my friend told you that kind of it, he kind of expected that like it happened with him and he expected to happen to me. Like we look at ourselves and we understand more or who we are and what we want to be. Because sometimes we can look at ourselves and say, okay, I'm not. There's often particular role with me, but sometimes we can be better. We can be different. I don't know.
Yeah. Of course. I think that that helped me a few times with mushrooms, and because Santo Daime is it's psychedelic. It creates connections like a deep meditation, and like meditation itself, it helps you accept parts of yourself and comprehend you better and have some insights of stuff that you do, and suddenly it clicks because it starts connecting this things in your brain. And yeah, I'm doing this maybe because of that. Yeah, maybe I should stop doing this. And I think it's great that it was kind of, would you say it was helpful for you? It kind of helped you setting a better path.
It was. Yeah, it definitely helped. Like, not the only reason because like again I started dating serious my partner. Then I graduated, had to find a job, but I stopped. I almost don't drink anymore. Like not something. Oh,
Hmm.
drinks deep. Like I like to drink something different than other. But it's not something like the routine that I was doing wasn't helpful. Like
Yeah,
and the kind of life not that was like oh I was super crazy, but I wasn't taking the future very seriously. Like I
yeah,
didn't understand that
yeah.
time is passing. Like I think it was an understanding that we are going to die. Like we,
Yeah, it is about that in a way. It is about that in a way. It has a lot to do with comprehending that what we have it's now, and we have to do the best that we can with what we have, and we realize that maybe some of the stuff that we're doing, we're kind of wasting ourselves, you know. So
yeah.
it is like this.
Realization of death is something scary as hell, but like I believe it's necessary. Like
It
time's
is.
passing. There is so much we can do. We want to do. Like and I don't think we
Yeah.
have time to
It's,
make everything. So we have to make the best
yeah.
we can.
Yeah, we can't be waiting for something that, oh, when that happens, I will be
Yeah.
happy. When that happens, I will try. Just do it
Uh,
now and do while
yeah.
you can, because
And
we don't
I still
know.
lost a lot of time, but like, what can we do? We can't go back.
Yeah, yeah. And and to be honest, like we continue to waste time, right? Like we
Exactly.
doom scroll to Twitter, but we kind of have discussions, and sometimes we stop. Like we stop ourselves. We're like on the Twitter and said, I have to stop this,
But
and we put our
is it
phones
like,
away. And
yeah, but I think another part also is to realize that what is time? Because again, we can easily fall into the capitalist system of time is money, like
no,
produce.
no, it's not about that.
Is like,
It's about living and
yeah, exactly.
experiencing and being with the people around you. Of course, it's about making art because, as you said, we're always thinking about work, but not in that way in making money, but
Yeah,
about creating stuff, and that's kind of magical. And I think that's kind of that is about being the now. We are making something, we're creating, and I don't
exactly.
know. When I said Twitter, it's not specifically Twitter. It's like all this little stuff that sometimes we obsess over, we don't think about, and maybe we shouldn't, or we like
Oh, well,
we
I do scroll Twitter a
yeah.
lot. So, sometimes was is not for good reason. I have to admit I like to see some fights in Twitter because I think sometimes the people argue. Some arguments are just so stupid, so unnecessary that is entertaining. Like I
It's
have
true.
to.
I do that. I do that. But one thing that really got me was during our elections. Bolsonaro.
Yeah,
I was constantly checking it, and it was making me feel really bad, like anxiety
yeah, no,
was terrible. And it was like in the pandemic and stuff. And my relationship with my wife wasn't great. With my kid wasn't great. We're working through a lot of stuff, and that was making even worse. So yeah, we'll have to watch about this for sure.
the pandemic was so hard. I wasn't a, per- I was I'm not a person that cry easily, but like when the result was in, man, fuck, man, that's so relief.
uh,
I
yeah.
couldn't help but like
You
start crying.
as you mentioned, like you had this crisis like in 2021. I thought I was having like a heart attack. Was I think was my first panic attack or something. And then yeah.
Like the 2022 was like, okay, we have the vaccine. Bolsonaro is so stupid that he can win, but like 2021 was fucking hard. Like
Yeah,
uh, we
was
couldn't leave our home. The idiot was going to make a coup. Like, what? So fucking Brazil. Like, fortunately, we survived that, and he
yeah,
failed everything he tried.
yeah. It's yeah, for me it's kind of weird. Like 2021 was all these terrible things, but it was also something that pushed me to do those changes. So it's bad, but it's good in a way that it forced me to be better. And I have
Yeah,
this weird relationship with this year. It's
yeah.
weird to
You
talk
know what?
about it.
For me, it was a year that I started to earn enough to live full time as a freelancer. So like, was at the same time was a good year for me. Like, it was
Yeah,
awful, but professionally, like, I was
yeah,
able to do what I wanted to do. So it was
yeah,
insane, and because I believe it's strange because I was like with a friend of mine, and he said to me like, it's strange because we feel that is because there's so much people like having their loved ones dying,
yeah,
themselves dying, that we can't be good, have something good, but we should
yeah,
have something good. Like something good is
yeah,
what make us sane, what is making moving
yeah,
forward. It doesn't make us
yeah. To
most
keep us
destroyed.
going too. Yeah, of course. No, it's not about that. I mean, it was terrible, but it can be bad and good, and like everything can be bad and good
And
in some ways.
yeah, and I think
Yeah,
like yeah, that's life. Like shit's happen, but we have to move on.
exactly. Yeah. How now going for the more whimsical and fun questions at the end of the show. So, if you could choose any superpower to have, what would you choose, and what would be the first thing you would do with that?
Ah, oh, yeah, that's hard. I, I,
What's the
I,
first thing that comes to your mind?
I think I want the power of Magneto. Like
Oh,
control matter, so powerful. Like
it is.
saying that away makes me like, okay, how he's doing some crazy terrible stuff. But yeah, I feel like it is a really good power. Like We
It
could design the
is.
wood.
You can kind of control electricity too, like electromagnetism,
Yeah.
so you can manipulate that too.
And
And
there was like a comic that like that lift a mountain because like the mountain was full of metal.
yeah.
Okay.
But depending on who is your writer for your comic book, you can
You
do
can
a
do
lot
it.
of stuff. Because you can say, well, people have iron on their bodies, on their blood, so they, you know,
Okay, so the
depends.
best power is to be the writer of our own stories.
Oh yeah,
You give the power.
that's yeah, yeah.
You can
The
do
power
whatever.
of protagonism. No?
The power of the protagonist.
Yeah. And what would you the first thing you would do with either magnetism or being the protagonist of your story, the
So,
writer protagonist?
like I said, I would design the world and probably do something about the redistribution of the money or the change, a fundamental change of the system, and fit the world, of course.
Uh,
Uh, and the
and
billionaires and the billionaires. Not exactly not necessarily the death of them, not necessary, but the end of the billionaires.
yeah,
Why we should have billionaires?
yeah, it's it's hard for me to talk about. I have this joke that say for me, billionaires should have they should receive a telegram when they hit like 500 millions and say, "Hey, look, pal, you have a lot. So
We
start
don't need more.
using this and giving back because if you get to 1 billion, things are gonna get bad. You know, should have a
I'm
warn
not
or
saying
something."
you're going to die, but when we're saying things are
Uh,
good.
yeah.
Uh,
And now, what weird thing you wish was real, and like it could be from fiction, from writing, from movies, anything. And it can be a faction, a location, an entity, energy that you wish were real and was in our world, and why would you choose that?
it it's going to be like a kind of a blended. But I hate traveling. Like I like to travel. I hate the act of travel, getting a
Hmm.
car. So like teleport would be so good.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
okay,
for sure.
I want to be there.
What kind of teleport would you like to exist? Like those uh you disintegrate and integrate, or some of those really super high speed travel that seems like teleport, or what do
Ah,
you
so
imagine
like
for
so
that?
fancy magical teleports. They open the door and you enter.
Ah, yeah, like Portal.
That is cool. That is cool. That is cool.
Yeah,
I like some
I think
fancy.
that's more comforting than being disintegrated and then made new
Disintegrated.
again,
It's kind
right?
of scary. Like, well, what if we don't go back?
Yeah, yeah, because it erases you and informs you again. And is it real you? Is like that old philosophy story about, I always forget the name of the boat, but in Greece, that they every year they replace like pieces of the boat, and after hundreds of years, all the
Oh,
pieces were replaced. Is it the same boat, or is it
this-
a new boat? Yeah. And how finally our last question of the show is: do you remember the last time you felt really happy and grateful for being here and being alive? And if you do, can you share with us, weirdos, when was it and how it was for you?
it was recently actually. I moved recently with my partner. That we kind of like 6 months moving in. In November, we adopted like a kitty, a small cat, kitten.
Nice.
When it was something like my mother knew about a cat that was found like now in a place there. I was there, see the small kitten, brought home, and I brought here like my partner got the cat. The kid they look at each other like I feel like my partner was so happy. And like the kitty has a home now, and I felt like something like oh, fuck so good. It's like there's a feeling I want to feel like forever.
Yeah, it's those small moments are really great. Like we see the person that we love with that smile, that you feel their warmth and they're happy and they, I don't know, it's really an incredible feeling. Like when we can connect, and then
Yeah.
we're just happy to see someone we love happy, right? And
Yeah. It's better
it's kind of
than
magical. Yeah,
it's better than like we are happy because something good happened to us. Okay, it's better than when it happens to something we love, someone we love. Like we can see their faces, you can see their happiness. Kids priceless.
yeah, yeah.
The kids
It
later
kind of,
like
if they are happy, we are happy. It's like that Ubuntu. Like we live through us, through the others, and we are all. It kind of brings back to when we started talking about who we are, right? Like we're talking about, if I am not a designer, if I'm not a Brazilian, like taking all these labels from us, who we are, we're
we
like
are.
this conscious behind everything. And in a way, we are all the same thing. We're all this conscious, and in some way, we are that person that we're seeing happy, and then we are happy because it is us who are
Yeah.
happy. So
Uh,
yeah,
uh, and we are so many things that is hard to describe what we truly are because, like I said, we
yeah,
are other people that are part of us a little bit.
yeah, yeah. And and the same way, like we were born where they were born, if we had their parents, if we had their education and their environment, we would be then. So in a way, every person is us in a different reality. Like like those parallel dimensions. Like imagine if you were this person, you know, it's kind of you. We live in a multiverse of ourselves, but we
So
are not ourselves.
most of ourselves is great,
Yeah,
great team for a story.
yeah,
But yeah,
uh,
and I think that's very interesting. Like, and I understand that like we are not just what we do, but we are so much more that it's okay if you simply can't say what we are because we are so much more.
yeah.
We are infinite.
We are being.
We are,
We are existing. That's it, right? We're experience. How? Thank you so much for coming to Weird Games and Weird People. I
uh,
had a great time chatting with you, especially this last passage. Like very philosophical. I loved it. Thank you very much. Uh, and do you have any last messages you want to give to the weirdos out there that are listening to us?
oh yeah, like if never felt that what you want to do is very odd, very weird, that don't fit, that you need to fit in. And like, don't fall into the especially in tabletop RPG, don't fall in the conservative mind of have SOs, Kickstarters, backing, like that, all stuff like that. Your book have to be that to be this, have to be D20. Be weird. Be the stuff you want to make the game. They make the game crazy and what you want to make. Like be honest with yourself. Like I say this as for tabletop RPG, but I guess this is life. Like every party that you can be honest about yourself, be honest about yourself. I know it's hard for some people. It's harder than for others, but the the, the things you can, the things the parts that are honest, like could keep them honest.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't be afraid of that.
Where
It'd be weird.
Yeah, wear your weirdness proudly, right? And
Yeah,
be. And I
exactly.
think that's a big part about weirdness is authenticity and then being yourself, kind of unapologetic, but always with kindness too, right? And
Yeah,
and respect. So,
exactly.
how
If-
would you take us out saying the catchphrase of the show? Keep it weird, everybody.
Yeah, of course. Now, keep weird, everybody.
Thank you for listening to Weird Games and Weirder People. If you'd like to keep up with the show, please subscribe to be notified when we release new episodes. If you'd like to support us, please leave a review or head on to code-fi.com/WGNWP. See you next time, and remember, weird is the new wonderful.